If you keep waking up as the same person you were yesterday, don't expect a different life today. Let that sink in for a second. Because most people wake up, scroll through their phone, repeat the same thoughts, and wonder why nothing changes. The truth is, your old self, the one full of fear, self-doubt, and limitation, is standing in the way of everything you've been asking for. You can't attract abundance with the same mindset that's been blocking it. You can't become someone new while defending who you've always been. Every morning, the universe gives you a choice to replay your old story or to write a new one. But the problem is, we've gotten addicted to our own patterns, the same emotions, the same excuses, the same energy that keeps us small. You've built an identity around struggle and called it normal. But what if it's time to hit delete? To erase the version of you that keeps saying, maybe one day, or it's too late. This is the moment to break that loop, to look at yourself and say, I'm done being the old me. Because the second you decide that the past no longer defines you, abundance starts to move toward you. It's not magic, it's energy. When you let go of the version of you that's tired, broke, and doubtful, you make space for the version that's powerful, focused, and free. So before this day starts, make this your reset. This isn't just another morning. This is the moment you stop being who you were and start becoming who you're meant to be. Delete the old self, because the new one is waiting to rise. The harsh truth about staying the same. Here's the truth most people don't want to hear. You can't attract a new life while clinging to an old version of yourself. You can say you want change. You can dream about success. You can talk about abundance all day. But if your habits, your thoughts, and your energy stay the same, nothing around you will shift. The universe doesn't respond to what you say you want. It responds to what you are. And if you keep waking up as the same person, thinking the same thoughts, reacting the same way, you're sending the same signal, and life keeps echoing it back to you. We sabotage our own growth because we're comfortable with the familiar. Even when the familiar hurts, it feels safe. That's why people stay in jobs they hate, relationships that drain them, or routines that keep them stuck. Change feels like death to the ego, because it is. Your old self fights to survive every time you try to evolve. It whispers, you can't do that, or you've never been that person. It tricks you into believing that your past failures predict your future outcomes, and that's how abundance slips through your fingers. Not because you're unworthy, but because you're unchanged. The truth is, abundance doesn't enter the life of someone who's waiting to feel ready. It flows to the one who's brave enough to step into the unknown. Every fear you cling to is a door you keep locked. Every habit you refuse to release is a chain holding you down. You keep saying you want more peace, more money, more freedom, but you can't download a new reality while running on outdated programming. The version of you that's stuck in scarcity cannot attract abundance. It's that simple. You have to become the kind of person who believes, acts, and feels like abundance is already yours. That means letting go of old stories, old limits, and old ways of thinking. Because staying the same isn't just safe. It's self-sabotage. And every day you choose it, you tell the universe you're not ready for the life you say you want. Identity is the real prison. Most people don't realize this, but their identity, who they think they are, is the very thing keeping them trapped. You've been conditioned to believe certain things about yourself, that you're not confident enough, not talented enough, not lucky enough. You've repeated those stories so many times that they've become your truths. But here's the thing, they're not truths, they're programming. And as long as you keep identifying with that old version of yourself, you'll keep recreating the same reality. Your identity is like a cage built from your past experiences. Every failure, every rejection, every painful moment adds another bar. You begin to think, this is just who I am. But that's the biggest lie you've ever told yourself. You are not your past. You are not your mistakes. You are not the old narrative that was written for you when you didn't know you had the power to rewrite it. Abundance doesn't show up because you want it. It shows up when you become the person who believes they deserve it. The old you can't hold abundance. It doesn't fit in their hands. The old you is focused on survival, scarcity and fear. But the abundant you, that version operates on trust, gratitude and expansion. To unlock that level, you have to let the old identity die. You can't bring your old mindset into your new season and expect it to work. Every time you say I'm just not that type of person, you're reinforcing your prison walls. You're holding yourself hostage to a version of you that doesn't exist anymore. The truth is, identity is a choice, not a label. You can choose to think, act and speak like the version of yourself who already lives the life you want. Abundance begins the moment you stop identifying with your limits and start identifying with your potential. It's when you realize that the old you was never the real you, just a temporary character built on fear. The key isn't to fight your past identity, it's to outgrow it. Because the second you stop saying, this is who I've always been, you give yourself permission to become who you were always meant to be. The power of mental deletion. Think about how your phone starts slowing down when it's full of junk files and useless apps. Your mind works the same way. Every old belief, every negative thought, every painful memory you hold on to is taking up space that could be used for growth, peace and abundance. Mental deletion is about clearing that clutter, consciously erasing the beliefs that no longer serve you, so your system can run at full power. Again, it's hitting reset on your inner world. Most of us carry mental files that should have been deleted years ago. Thoughts like I'm not good enough, I'll always struggle, or people like me don't succeed. You've kept those beliefs because they feel familiar, not because they're true. They've become background noise, quietly shaping your decisions, your confidence, your entire life. But here's the truth. If those thoughts don't support the person you're becoming, they don't deserve a place in your mind. Mental deletion isn't about pretending your past didn't happen. It's about deciding it no longer controls you. It's standing in front of your mental mirror and saying, this version of me doesn't believe that anymore. Every time you catch yourself thinking like the old you, pause, breathe, and hit delete. Replace that thought with one that matches your new reality. When you start deleting the mental junk, something incredible happens. You feel lighter, your energy shifts. You stop reacting out of fear and start responding from power. Suddenly opportunities begin to appear because you're no longer blocking them with old patterns. Your frequency changes. You can't attract abundance with a mind that's full of scarcity. You have to make room for it. Think of it like updating your software. The old code won't run the new program. Delete what's outdated. Release what's heavy. Every time you choose to let go of a limiting belief, you're not losing a part of yourself. You're freeing it. Mental deletion isn't forgetting who you were. It's remembering who you can still become. So take a deep breath. Open your mental settings and start pressing delete. It's time to make space for the abundance waiting to load. Reprogramming your mind for abundance. Your mind is like a computer. It runs on whatever software you've been installing since the day you were born. Every belief, every word you repeat to yourself, becomes part of that system. If you've been running programs like I'm not good enough, I can't do this or I don't deserve more, then of course your reality keeps freezing at the same point. Reprogramming your mind for abundance means uninstalling those old commands and replacing them with thoughts that empower, expand and elevate you. The first step is awareness. Listen to how you talk to yourself. If your inner voice is constantly criticizing, doubting or comparing, that's the old you. The version still trapped in scarcity. The abundant version of you doesn't speak that way. That version says things like, I can handle this. I am worthy. Good things are coming to me. It's not just positive thinking. It's rewriting the script your subconscious follows every day. Your brain listens to repetition. The more often you affirm abundance, the more your mind begins to believe it's true. That's how identity shifts happen. Not by force, but by consistent reprogram. When you replace negative self-talk with powerful inner commands, you start acting differently. You carry yourself with confidence. You make choices from faith, not fear, and the world starts to mirror that energy back to you. Abundance isn't just about money or success. It's a mindset of I always have enough, and I always am enough. When you think that way, you stop chasing and start attracting. You move through life with calm power, instead of desperate energy. Every word you say to yourself is a seed. Negative words grow weeds. Empowering words grow gardens. So from this moment on, make your self-talk sacred. Every morning, speak to yourself like someone who already has everything they desire. Tell your mind who you are, until it believes you. Because once your mind believes, your reality follows. The secret isn't to force abundance to come to you. It's to become the kind of person abundance naturally finds. Reprogram your thoughts, upgrade your energy, and watch how fast your life begins to shift. Your morning energy sets the tone. The way you start your morning decides the direction of your entire day. Your first thoughts, your first emotions, your first actions, they all create the frequency you broadcast to the world. And that frequency either attracts abundance or pushes it away. Most people don't realize that they begin their day in survival mode. They wake up, grab their phone, scroll through stress, and immediately relive yesterday's emotions. The same worry, the same frustration, the same tired story. It all begins again before they've even begun. That's how you stay stuck in the loop of your old self. But what if instead, you treated every morning as a reset, a clean slate, where you choose who you want to be? The moment you open your eyes, your mind is at its most programmable state. This is when you can plant the seeds of the new you. Don't start the day by reacting to the world. Start it by commanding your world. Before you check a single notification, check your energy. Ask yourself, what frequency am I choosing today? Fear or faith, scarcity or abundance? When you begin your morning with gratitude, intention, and self-belief, you shift your energy field. You start attracting people, opportunities, and experiences that match that vibration. Say it out loud. Today, I am calm, confident, and abundant. Feel it in your body. Stand taller, breathe deeper, smile. Even if you don't feel like it yet, your body teaches your mind how to feel. Every morning is an invitation to remember who you're becoming. You don't need to chase abundance. You need to tune to it. When your first thoughts are powerful, your actions follow. When your first emotions are grounded in gratitude, your day unfolds with grace. So tomorrow morning, before the noise of the world tries to pull you back into the old you, pause, take a breath, remind yourself that you are stepping into a new identity, one that attracts abundance naturally. The morning isn't just the start of your day. It's the launch pad for your entire transformation. Guard that energy, protect it, because the way you rise determines how high you go. Visualization of the new you. Close your eyes for a moment. Take a deep breath in, and let everything around you fade away. Forget about what happened yesterday. Forget about what's waiting for you later. Right now, it's just you and the version of yourself you're becoming. Picture that version clearly, the one who already has everything you've been working toward.
peace, confidence, abundance, freedom. See them standing tall, calm, completely in control. There's no tension in their face, no doubt in their eyes. They move with purpose. They speak with certainty, and they radiate a quiet power that draws good things toward them effortlessly. Now imagine stepping into their world. Look around. What does their environment look like? How do they spend their morning? What kind of thoughts fill their mind? You might see them waking up early, smiling, feeling grateful before the day even begins. You might see them walking into opportunities, meeting the right people, attracting experiences that align perfectly with their energy. Everything they touch seems to flow, not because they're aligned. Now here's the truth. That version of you isn't somewhere. They already exist. Inside you. The only difference is your belief. You don't need to become that person. You need to remember that you just have to act, think and feel from that energy now. Every time you visualize the new you, you're sending a message to your subconscious. This is who I am. The more vividly you see it, the faster your reality begins to catch up. Your mind doesn't know the difference between imagine and experience. It simply responds to what you focus on. So every morning, spend a few minutes in that state. See yourself living your dream day. Feel the emotions of abundance, as if it's already here. Smile, like it's already yours. Because when you can see it clearly in your mind, life has no choice but to mirror it back to you. The new you isn't a fantasy, it's a frequency. And the moment you tune in, you stop chasing abundance and start becoming it. Detach from the old self emotionally. Letting go of your old self isn't just a mental shift, it's an emotional one. You can't step into abundance while staying emotionally loyal to pain, fear or doubt. But most people do exactly that. They say they want to change, yet they keep replaying old memories, old heartbreaks, old disappointments, as if holding onto them somehow keeps them safe. In reality, it keeps them stuck. You can't create a new future while emotionally addicted to your past. The old you lives in survival mode, constantly worrying, overthinking, expecting something to go wrong. That version of you learned to protect yourself by staying small. But abundance doesn't live in survival mode. It lives in flow. You can't attract opportunities while your energy is locked in fear. You can't receive love while you're still defending yourself from being hurt again. Detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop carrying. You release the emotional weight that no longer belongs to your future. Think of it like this. Every time you revisit your pain, you reattach the cord to your old time. You keep feeding energy into the version of you that you're trying to outgrow. But when you choose to feel peace, instead of replaying the past, that cord begins to dissolve. Detachment is freedom. It's the space between who you were and who you're becoming. Start by observing your emotions instead of drowning in them. When old fears rise up, don't fight them. Just notice them and let them pass. Tell yourself, that's not me anymore. Feel the relief that comes from releasing control. The universe can't fill your hands if you're still gripping your past. Abundance flows where peace lives. The calm your inner world becomes, the more magnetic your outer world gets. So breathe, forgive, and let go. Not for anyone else, but for the version of you that's waiting towards. You don't owe yourself anything. That chapter taught you what it needed to. Now it's time to close the book. Emotional detachment isn't losing yourself. It's rediscovering the self that was buried underneath all that pain.
Small shifts that change everything. You don't become abundant overnight. You become abundant every morning you choose differently. It's not one big change that transforms your life. It's the small, consistent shifts that seem almost invisible in the moment. The energy you give off, The decisions you make when no one's watching. Every tiny choice is a vote for the person you're becoming. You don't have to wake up and completely reinvent yourself. You just have to adjust your direction by 1 degree. Change a single thought from I can't to I'm learning. Replace one complaint with gratitude. Catch yourself slouching and stand taller. Smile even when you don't feel like it. These small shifts may feel insignificant, but they're not. They're reprogramming your identity, rewiring your brain to match the frequency of abundance. Your body language alone can change your state. When you carry yourself with confidence, your mind starts believing it. When you walk with purpose, opportunities start aligning with your path. When you choose calm instead of chaos, you signal to the universe that you're ready for more. You become magnetic, not because you're chasing abundance, but because you're embodying it in every detail. In how you speak, how you breathe, how you show up for yourself. The truth is your future isn't built in one grand moment of transformation. It's built in the small daily moments of awareness. The moment you choose faith instead of fear, the moment you pause before reacting, the moment you speak kindly to yourself. Each small shift is a brick, and before you know it, you've built a new reality from the ground up. Abundance isn't a finish line you reach, it's a frequency you tune into again and again through your actions, your posture, and your mindset. So start small, but start now, because every morning you choose differently. You're proving to yourself that the old you is gone, and one day you'll wake up and realize those small shifts didn't just change your mornings, they changed your entire life. Phase, frequency, and flow. Everything in your life is energy. Every thought, every word, every emotion, and energy has frequency. Abundance isn't something you chase, it's something you tune into. Think of it like a radio station. If you keep broadcasting thoughts of fear, doubt, and lack, you'll only pick up more of the same. But the moment you shift your thoughts to gratitude, confidence, and faith, you start receiving on a completely different frequency, the frequency of abundance. Your thoughts are the dial. You get to choose what station you're tuned into. Scarcity says, there's not enough. Abundance says, there's always more coming. Scarcity focuses on what's missing. Abundance focuses on what's growing. One frequency feels heavy and closed. The other feels open and alive. The more time you spend in gratitude, the stronger your signal becomes. Because gratitude is the language of abundance. It tells the universe, I already have enough and I'm ready for more. The old version of you lived on the frequency of fear, constantly worried about what could go wrong, expecting loss, expecting rejection. That energy creates resistance, and resistance blocks flow. But when you start living from faith, trusting that everything is unfolding in your favor, your entire reality begins to shift. Faith turns waiting into knowing. It turns anxiety into peace. It allows life to move through you instead of against you. Flow is what happens when your faith and frequency align. It's when you stop forcing and start allowing. It's when you realize you don't have to control everything. You just have to believe and act from that belief. The universe always responds to the energy you give it. So today, adjust your dial. Catch yourself when your thoughts drift into scarcity, and switch the frequency. Replace I can't with I will. Replace what if I fail with what if it works. Speak abundance. Feel gratitude. Move with faith, because when your thoughts vibrate higher, your life naturally follows. The new you doesn't chase stress or doubt, they flow. And that flow is where abundance lives, waiting for you to match its frequency. Delete, replace, repeat. This is the formula for transformation. Simple, powerful, and real. delete, replace, repeat. That's how you reprogram your mind, reshape your energy, and rebuild your identity from the inside out. Because the truth is you can't think like the old you and expect a new life to appear every time an old thought surfaces. The doubt, the fear, the what if I can't. That's your cue. Don't argue with it. Don't analyze it. Just hit delete. It doesn't belong in your new reality anymore. Then replace it. Swap I'm not enough with I'm more than ready. Replace it never works out for me with everything is always working in my favor. When you do this consistently, you're teaching your subconscious a new language, the language of abundance. The mind learns through repetition, so the more often you replace those thoughts, the faster your brain starts accepting them as truths. At first it feels unnatural. The old thoughts will try to sneak back in whispering, "You're fooling yourself," but that's just residue from your past identity. Don't give it power. Smile and repeat your new truths anyway, because change doesn't happen by accident. It happens through repetition. Every time you delete an old belief, you create space. Every time you fill that space with something empowering, you raise your frequency. And every time you repeat it, you strengthen it. This isn't about perfection. It's about persistence. The person you're becoming is built through small mental edits, day after day, one thought at a time, one belief at a time, one moment at a time. Eventually the new thoughts stop feeling forced. They become natural. They become you. So whenever your mind starts playing the same old story, don't fall for it. Just whisper your mantra. Delete, replace, repeat. This is how you rewire your reality. This is how you take control of your inner world. Keep doing it until the new identity feels automatic, until abundance isn't something you're chasing, but something you naturally attract. Remember, transformation isn't complicated. It's consistent. Delete what no longer fits. Replace it with what empowers you and repeat until your life reflects it back. Every morning you're given a choice to wake up as your past or rise as your potential. Most people don't realize that their entire life is being rewritten every single day with every single decision. The moment your eyes open, you have two options. Repeat who you were yesterday or step into who you're meant to be today. It's that simple and that powerful. You don't need to wait for a perfect moment to change. This is right now. The version of you that's abundant, confident, and peaceful isn't waiting for permission. It's waiting for action. Every thought you upgrade, every emotion you release, every habit you shift, it all adds up. You're not rebuilding your life overnight. You're rebuilding it one morning at a time. So take this as your reminder. Your old self doesn't own you anymore. You don't owe your past a single ounce of your future. You can let go of the fear, the guilt, the hesitation, because none of it belongs in the story you're writing next. This moment right here is your reset button. So tell me, what's one thing you're ready to delete from your old self starting today? Drop it in the comments. I genuinely want to know, because that single declaration could be the spark that starts your transformation. And if you're serious about stepping into your highest self, if you're ready to attract the abundance, peace and confidence that's been waiting for you, hit subscribe right now, because the next video isn't just another message, it's your next step forward. Your new chapter starts here, and it starts with you choosing to rise.